is video 200 being in sync videos for this year, giving you being in sync 366 video series. I honestly did not know how I was going to do all these videos, but here I am. I didn't think I'd have enough content, but here I am with five of the most uncommon common sense aspects, things that people really could be practicing but don't. And I thought I could go on. This could be a list of like 100 things. This list, uncommon common sense, could go. I could probably do many episodes on this topic alone. It's so funny. That's how uncommon some common sense is. And so I thought I would start by saying thank you for being here and watching these videos and being a part of this series. I hope that this content has provided you some insights, a different perspective, and obviously not all of you are going to be able to practice everything that I'm delivering in these videos, but choose the ones that resonate the most for you. Experiment, and I think that's the most important thing, is that you learn to experiment with how energy works, how your energy works. Don't go by what you taught, go with your own experience. So I want to start with the first most uncommon common sense is the willingness to see the truth. There are so many people who have closed minds and closed hearts and they're full of opinions, but they are not really willing to see the truth. And willingness is really an experience of you opening of your heart. It's not just of the mind. Willingness comes from heart and mind connection. And you know, there are some people that just will say no just because no is their common answer. And there is no willingness when you are saying no, 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 no. Now, don't make the mistake of, oh, I look like your teacher from elementary school. Well, she must have been very pretty. Just kidding. No, so when I say willingness to see the truth, that doesn't mean that you have to give it meaning. You don't have to do anything other than be willing to see the truth. That's the most uncommon, common sense thing that I see with people all the time, is that they have a closed mind and a closed heart, and they don't want to see the truth, because the truth means that what they think is real is not real. And then they have to wake up, right? And waking up is hard to do. In fact, I should do a session on that. Just because, number two of the most uncommon common sense, just because you think it's true doesn't mean it's true. Just because you say so doesn't mean it is. So don't get stuck in your head and what you think, and just be more open. Be more open. It is common sense to know that what you say is not always what it is, all right? So, and what you say doesn't make it so. So don't be foolish. Don't believe everything you think. Don't believe everything you say. Don't believe what everybody else says. And don't try to pretend you know what everybody else is thinking, because you're going to make some big mistakes. Okay, so those two. Okay, and then I'll get to questions. So if you have questions about what I'm saying, somebody already had a really good question about something, but I want to go back to it. So I want to give you these five, because I might get derailed by some of the questions that I'm seeing. So the third most uncommon common sense is that ignorance is not bliss. You know, you hear that saying all the time. People think it and they say it and they don't even know what they're saying. But this is what ignorance is. It's sleepwalking. Ignorance is sleepwalking through life. They are not really living. They are in some type of escapism, which is a very low frequency. Escapism, avoidance, denial, delusional, those are all really low frequencies that can easily hook you into something that's called consciousness traps, which I've done a video on that, so you can go see that. So ignorance is not bliss is number 3. So don't be fooled, and don't say things that aren't true, because that's not true. And this is the thing. This is why you don't believe what you say. Going back to number 2, is because people say things that are nonsensical and delusional and don't make sense all the time because they're common isms here in the culture. Don't be common in the isms. Don't speak common language if it doesn't make sense to you. Speak your truth. And if you don't know what your truth is, go find out. Okay? This one, you'll probably agree with me on this. The most uncommon common sense thing is that liars, they really don't change. And I'm here to tell you why they don't change. Because they have a character flaw. And when people have character flaws, a flaw of who they are and who they have aligned themselves to be, that means that there's a character flaw. That they don't change. They just talk a good game. So liars do not change. Accept them as they are. They're a liar who lies. And when you know who people are, you can make a different choice. If that's who you want to be around, liars that lie, then you make a conscious choice to do so. No judgment, but just see them as they are. Okay? Beliefs determine outcome. This is a very uncommon, common sense aspect, but this is the real matrix. When people are talking about the matrix, this is the matrix, what you believe. And when you understand that what you believe determines outcomes, there is quite honestly times I have been hired solely to hold potentials for teams, solely to help a group move from total dysfunction to functional, because I held those potentials for that group. They didn't want to do the things that I wanted them to do, but they knew that they didn't have what it took to hold the potentials because their beliefs were too hooked into a downward spiral. So your beliefs will determine outcomes. That's why it's so important to check what it is that you are believing. And if your beliefs are flawed, change them. You can consciously change them. Now, is that easy to do? Yeah, it really is easy to change what you are consciously choosing to believe when you are conscious and aware. Yeah, super easy. But a lot of people fail to do so because they think they are that way and therefore they have to be that way because their patterns are so ingrained, which is true. Patterns can become ingrained and very difficult. They can create what's called an imprint energetically and leave residue. So even after something is pulled away, it'll leave a residue, like little pieces and fragments. That's how energy works. So those are my top 5 most uncommon common sense things. So I am curious. What somebody had a good question up above. I'm going to go back and find it. So the truth. Somebody asked, what is the truth? The truth will change dependent on your level of consciousness and your level of access. It will also change depending on your alignment, your beliefs, and your timelines that you are aligned to. So I've just thrown out like a ton of energy lingo that you can go look up, but that is how truth can be examined differently. Perception will also skew how the truth actually is. So, but you must be willing to see the truth in order to have access to it. So, what I was suggesting is that most people aren't even willing to see. And if you're unwilling to see, you don't have an open mind and you have a closed heart, it makes it very challenging to uncover what really is true for you, the truth of who you are. And, and the truth will change on obviously the topic, right? So, aw, somebody said they liked my smile. Thank you. It's good medicine. Smiling is good medicine. I agree. Okay. Do I have any kids? No. Somebody said that Jesus is the Holy Bible. I am the way, the truth, and the life. Well, what I will say is that Christ consciousness is absolutely real. And although I don't buy into the dogmas of the Bible, and that is not what I'm here to discuss, I do believe wholeheartedly in Christ consciousness and the experience of Christ and the alignment to higher levels of consciousness and oneness, 100%. I look very wealthy. Well, looks can be deceiving. I am wealthy. I am wealthy in love. I am wealthy in light. I am wealthy in abundance of many things. Am I, here's the question. Are you scientific literate? I'm going to have to interpret that question, which is, do I believe in science? Do I believe in science? Let me see. Do I trust the science? Is that really what you're asking me? It depends who's doing their experiment, to be 100% honest. I think that we must look for what is resonant for ourselves, and that what is resonant for one person might not be resonant for another. Therefore, I am not prescriptive. I do believe in the quantum field, and I would say that most science does not even understand how consciousness works. And that's the world in which I live in. And so, do I believe in science? Seems like a silly question to me, but I hope that answered your question. What is this channel about? This channel is about alignment to being in sync. So, being in sync is offering people tools, tips, wisdom, insight, healing in how each individual and unique person can align within themselves and to oneness. That's what this is about. Somebody said they saw my husband with a woman a few weeks ago. He's allowed to talk to other women. He's allowed to speak. You know, I think this is really crazy when people say things about what my husband is or does, because we are a very independent yet cohesive couple, and marriage isn't about keeping people locked in and locked down. He is free. He is not out there floundering. We have a very trusting relationship, and thanks for the tip. Do I talk about universe? Which one? Which universe do I talk about? We're really talking about quantum physics if you're talking about universes, and there's more than one universe. I don't go into detail about the universes, so if you're asking me about universe, no. What is my opinion and do I have facts? I'm speaking about my experiences, and those are based in facts as to what I know works for the vast majority of people. Although I would say I'm not prescriptive in any way. I would say each person has to feel out what will work best for them. There are some of my clients that one way will work the vast majority of time, and then there's one client that they don't resonate with a certain aspect of what I'm teaching, and then we fluctuate, we shift and change so it works for them. I'm all about adjusting. Everybody lies. People start saying lies between 2 and 4. I think that depends on how they are raised and the environment. Not everybody lies. Somebody said here that the truth is based on facts. Well, that just depends on how you're perceiving facts. And that perception of facts is always going to be determined by your beliefs. And it's also going to be determined by your willingness to be open. And it's also going to be determined on how you are aligned within and what you're open to receiving. So there you go. Your facts just got fact checked, and somebody's asking for a shout out. Diego. Hi, Wendy. Good to see you. Rosa. Hi. Hi, Rosa. Good to see you here. Well, hi, Rosa. This is a good question. Rosa is asking, what is the highest level of consciousness? And that will, Rosa, that will be determined by one's ability to access higher levels of consciousness. So just because you know that level of consciousness might be accessible doesn't mean that that's the tip of the rung. So what I want to say is that consciousness is infinite, and you don't want to look at it, and I think this is such a good question because so many people look at consciousness as levels, but it's actually does not work in a linear way. Your access will be determined by your a willingness to be open to new ways. And then when you open, it opens up different levels. So consciousness is infinite, and it doesn't have a top rung, if you will, from my perspective anyways. You might talk to somebody else who is determined, and I've seen scales of consciousness out there, and some that are higher based on frequencies, but frequencies are also determined by what dimension you're accessing. So dimension 1, 2, 3, 4, and it goes up the rung, and each rung has different access levels. So I would say consciousness is infinite, and it is not capped by a level. And what I would offer to you is not to look for what is the highest level of consciousness, but how open are you to receiving higher levels of consciousness. Christ consciousness is definitely a high level of consciousness purely, right? But then there's also different access points within a level. So you don't really want to look at it in a linear way like we do here, because that's what we're taught to do. The logical mind really wants to be step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, which, by the way, I'm doing a teaching right now on unconditional love, and it's a 5-step process of how to experience unconditional love. And the way that it's being taught is through steps. But each person's going to experience their step totally different depending on their access. And our access is determined by how open our heart is, how open our mind is, how connected are we, have we developed to our inner spirit and to our God self and to source energy creator. So I hope that answered your question, Rose. I think that's a really great question. Hi, Oliver. Good to see you here. Thank you so much for your support. Shadow said, Christ consciousness. I like the topic. Well, Shadow, I will just let you know that one of my favorite things to do is shadow work. So, shadow work, for those of you who are not aware, is Shadow's his name or her name. And shadow is really where we can access more light, love, and consciousness. But if we're unwilling to look at those aspects of ourselves that are dark or hidden or buried or concealed or locked away, we won't access higher levels of consciousness. So that's a great topic to go into, is to how to access higher levels of consciousness. And the best and most powerful way is through the heart. It's not through the mind. And yet we're constantly looking at our minds and thinking our way through things, which, by the way, you know, I'm a thinker. I'm very analytical. I like to know what, when people are telling the truth, what feels right for me. And I look at things very intellectually, but also I understand that spirit doesn't work in intellectual linear ways. So you really have to have faith, and you want to have faith not in other people, not in other things, not in situations. You don't want to trust the universe. You want to trust your inner relationship that you have developed with God. So let's see. Somebody is saying consciousness is limited to human beings. I disagree. But that would be a belief that consciousness is limited. They're saying that the highest consciousness is to know that a creator existence and only infinite in consciousness. Well, I would challenge you to look at your beliefs about consciousness. Because if you are going into your own personal experience already having this idea that it's limited, you are going to be limited in how you can express, how you can experience, how you can transcend. One of the things that I was doing, and I'm going to do a video on this, but I'm just going to do a precursor of it today, which is I've had multiple experiences of pure oneness. And when you are experiencing pure oneness, and this is unmedicated, no drugs, no alcohol, nothing, just experiencing the expansion of pure, unencumbered limitlessness in my own experience. And what I will tell you is it's a harmonization of frequencies that occur within you that allows oneness to exist in your conscious experience. So you can't have preconceived ideas or beliefs about how oneness is going to occur and still experience oneness, because that would block out the experience of complete unification. So, interesting thing to think about. Heart and mind have to be one, right? The heart and mind, so let me see. Shadow is saying the heart and mind have to be one, right? What I would say is this, is that the human experience for most people is that their head is leading and their heart is kind of left to the side. Or forgotten or dismissed. And for optimal results, happiness, joy, vitality, your heart would be the leader of all of your decisions, all of your choices over your mind. But most people are so, most people, and I would say I was one of the most. So I'm not saying that I'm better. I've had this experience too, where my ego mind was making a lot of the decisions. Now, did I do good decision making? I think I made some really big mistakes. And I talk about one of my biggest financial mistakes in decision making in your knowing, which you can find at beinginsync.com, and where I give a talk to a group of financial investors about how mistakes happen from your thinking mind. And I teach people that when you really go into your heart, and I give an exercise on that video if you want to go back and see it, decision making in your knowing. And when you learn to listen to your heart and you make decisions from that space, far greater, better results. 100%, you will not have any regrets. I promise you that. You will not regret when you follow your heart. So do you want to merge? I don't think you merge them, because the heart intelligence is far superior than the mind. So it's not about them becoming one per se. It's about the heart leading, because oneness is found through the heart portal. The heart is a portal. Okay, I hope that helps Shadow answer that question. Our creator, who is he? Well, Shadow, what makes you think it's a he? It's not a he or a she. It's an expression. The creation is an expression. It's not gender specific. It's gender neutral, meaning it's not male or female. It encompasses both the feminine and the masculine. That is the creator. Good question. I hope that helped. Rosa, let me see. I gave a good answer, Rosa. Thank you. I'm glad that you liked it. And you agree. She says she was thinking the same thing but wasn't sure. I'm so glad you're here, Rosa. Great question. Rosa, what is pure? This is a good question. Rosa is asking, what does pure oneness feel like? Well, I've had multiple experiences of merging with oneness. And the one that I am going to be sharing specifically, they all had a different experience. I'm trying to think of what I'm speaking off the cuff here, Rosa. So what I will say is all the experience of oneness, and I'm feeling the experience now, is complete awe. The experience of oneness is complete awe of the magnitude of love. I mean, the magnitude is beyond the mental and intellectual comprehension, is what I will say, which is anybody who's experienced oneness, they might say it's bliss, but I would say bliss doesn't even come close to the experience of the expansion of one. And it really is profound. It changes you. It actually changes you in your experience. And I'm so blessed to have had multiple experiences, all which bring me to being a teacher. I've always been a teacher and a consultant in different ways. But when you're teaching and consulting in corporate organizations, I was going to say corporate America, but I've worked with organizations all around the world, and they just don't have the comprehension intellectually to understand the heart. And most organizations really are lacking that connection to the heart, and which is why they suffer with This is why they suffer with dysfunction, really, and it comes back to their beliefs. So I hope that answers your question, Rosa. That's what it feels like. It feels like love, beyond your imagination, like more than you can. It's like your cup runneth over. There's no cup. There's no cup. That's what it feels like. Somebody asked, how do I have all this information at such a young age? At 26. Well, I like information. I am very analytical. I'm a lover of growth. I hope that helps. I think information is empowering. I don't think that it's all equal. And it all has, just like consciousness, information has different frequencies. In fact, I'll tell you a neat story. There is a place that I order from, and like literally, I order my herbs, and you could feel the vibration from the package. And I was like, what is going on with this place? That this package would feel so different, because I get Amazon packages and other packages, but I didn't feel the frequency of this package like I did with these herbs. And when I actually called them. I called the manager of the organization. I said, hey, your packaging feels very different energetically than other packages. What are you guys doing over there? And they actually said they said a prayer for the package before it was sent in the mail. And I could feel it. Another interesting thing is, I'll tell you another interesting story. We used to order, this is during COVID, before COVID, from this organization that had just like health food, right? And they'd ship it out. And it was good. It was really good, healthy food. And all of a sudden, the same thing that I would order that I really enjoyed just did not taste the same. And I couldn't figure out why. I was like, I didn't even want to eat the food. And I looked at all the ingredients, I looked at all the recipe, everything was exactly the same. I called the manager there too. What the heck is going on at your facility? The food does not taste the same. And they said, how can you tell? And I was like, well, I'm looking at the ingredients, but it just does not have the same, it just doesn't taste good. But the stuff is the same. And it's all organic, all that stuff, right? They had changed their facility, and their facility, from my perspective, it wasn't good, because I could feel the difference in their food. And I don't know, they went to a bigger facility, whatever was going on in that facility. And I told them specifically what was going on. And if they needed help, I would like to help them. But they didn't want my services, which is okay. You know, I'm not for everybody. They ended up going to somebody else, but they didn't fix the problem. So I stopped being a customer, because their food actually did not have the same frequency, essentially. And I didn't resonate with where they were making the food from anymore. Anyhow, Shadow is going through a spiritual awakening. Congratulations, Shadow. That's not an easy process. In fact, I thought about doing a video just on that. There's a lot of family members that call you crazy because I don't party, I don't smoke, I don't drink alcohol. It's like an experience of the universe sometimes. Shadow, what you're saying about your family, that's usually the hardest awakening is going to happen within the family nucleus, because you're going to see and experience the truth from different perspectives. And everybody in your family is going to have a different perspective. And Shadow doesn't want to, no longer knows what to do with other people. Oh, you don't want to, Shadow is saying he doesn't want to do what other people are doing. Well, you shouldn't do what other people are doing if it doesn't resonate. That's what having a unique experience is. You don't have to do what other people are doing. If your family's doing it, you don't want to do it, okay. That's okay. Lots of people like to do Christmas with lots of presents. I don't. I mean, I don't. My husband and I, when we got married, we decided we wanted to have experiences together, not a bunch of stuff. We have friends that all they do is buy stuff, and they have to wear all the name brands. I could care less about what brand people are wearing. So, Shadow, the awakening experience is unique to everybody. Pablo, you made it. Welcome. Good to see you here. The, I really want to talk. I think I'm going to do a video maybe tomorrow on awakening, because the awakening experience is absolutely unique to everybody and everybody's soul journey, but there are some common threads. So I will give my take, if you're interested, on the common threads. One, I will say, you're already experiencing it, is that you will see people and you might not like what you see. But I will ask you to not go into judgment and to just go into acceptance. It will make your awakening experience much easier. I hope that helps you. Hang in there, Shadow, because you're not alone. Rosa. It reminds me of the research of, yes, the water. Matsu, I don't know how, Emoto. In fact, I just bought little Petri dishes so I could do my own little water experiment. Rosa, his experiment, I read his book, I think over 15, maybe 20 years ago, but his book is really good. I like that. I don't remember his research at all, but I remember liking him, and I liked his research and about the power. And you could see the beauty in the pictures of the crystalline of the water. And since we know our physical bodies are mostly water, we know that we are easily can be reprogrammed. Thank you, Pablo. I appreciate your compliments. Pablo is asking if I do FaceTimes, one-on-one video sessions. I do for 90-minute sessions. I don't for anything less than 90 minutes. It's just easy for people to have their own experience if they're not focused on a video. And all of the sessions that I do are experiential in nature, meaning that you will feel and experience your own energy differently when we're running in a session. Okay, Pablo, go ahead and book a session. Any session, you let me know. We'll schedule. I would love it. I think it would be fun. You would be amazed. Okay, Shadow. Shadow says, that's how I feel. It's like there's something else we should be doing in the world. Okay. And there's a lot of people in anger and stress. So Shadow, there is your own consciousness and the collective consciousness. And the collective consciousness is influenced by your individual consciousness. And we're not supposed to be out there doing, we're supposed to be being. And our being in connection is what changes our connection to the collective consciousness. Pablo, yes. Pablo says, I feel like you can offer me great advice. You'll have to experience it to see. Shadow, I like your advice and appreciate the way you see life. Thank you. I like that you're here, Shadow, and I really appreciate your honesty and your questions. And I appreciate that you're on the journey along with all of us. You know, not everybody understands what waking up is. Not everybody that's even in the process of waking up knows what that means. The journey is to go within and to really learn to connect to the heart. So if you're going to do anything, Shadow, just Learn to connect with your own heart. Pablo says 90 minutes. That's a long time. You will see it goes very fast. But I have 30-minute and 60-minute session. Just depends on what you need. Payments are done online, Pablo. Come on now. Go to the website. Go to Kiana.com. You'll be amazed. Super easy. Yep, everything's done online. Everything's done online. All right, you guys. So those are the 5 most uncommon, common sense things that I hope that you really take to heart and learn to be open in your heart and open in your mind. Know that liars, they never change. They never change. Just learn to trust yourself. That would be the thing that I say most. Okay. All right, Pablo, I'll see you soon. Good to see you guys. Hope to see you again tomorrow. I'm Kiana Sage, and I guide people to peace. Have a fantastic day. Bye.